Philosophers and historians have been saying for years that the Western world is in a period of acute crisis. Today, the best minds among them are agreed that this crisis denotes the end of a phase of our civilization, if not the end of that civilization itself. Beyond this, their views as to the nature of the crisis and the future which it forebodes differ widely because of their varying theories of history and of the development of cultures. We recognize that theories of history belong to a highly speculative and uncertain realm of thought, depending on the dangerous but necessary art of generalization. To interpret the signs of the times, one is almost compelled to adopt a theory of history, and the one we have here chosen is unpopular because of the admittedly narrow and unfortunate way in which its chief protagonist, Oswald Spengler, has handled it. Because of his own exceedingly superficial philosophy of life, he has so misapplied the basic principles of his historical theory that the principles themselves have been attacked as widely and as bitterly as their misapplication. But the principles have been attacked with more oratory than reason. It is conceivable that historians would not resist Spengler's basic theory quite so bitterly if they could realize, as he did not, that the closing phases of a civilization or culture are not times of pure decadence, especially from the spiritual point of view. Age and maturity may bring the weakening of physical powers, but they also bring wisdom. 1. For reasons that will presently be given, we believe that our Western culture has reached the end of its physical expansion and vigor, and is entering the latter part of its life, the period of old age and spiritual or psychological maturity. This is why church religion is finding it so hard to meet the spiritual needs of modern man, for it is treating him as if he were still a child, an adolescent, or even a young adult. We are not saying that modern man is the spiritual superior of his forefathers. We are saying that, in important respects, he is of a different and older type of psychology. Such a view depends, of course, on the theory that cultures have a cyclic and organic pattern of growth similar to the life rhythm of individual human beings, and that, in a general way, they pass through the stages of infancy, adolescence, physical maturity, spiritual maturity, or old age, and death. Closely interrelated and inwardly complex as they are, it is obvious that individual cultures exist. It is certainly possible, by the analytic method, to prove that they do not exist, because almost anything will seem to vanish when sufficiently reduced to atoms. But just as there was clearly such a thing as Egyptian culture, there is clearly, to a person who uses his eyes instead of the academic microscope, such a thing as Western culture. As Christendom, it once had an almost perfect unity, though now its unity is buried beneath the excrescences of time. It is also obvious that these individual cultures come into being and pass away. If they do not disappear entirely, they degenerate into a kind of prolonged decomposition. This fact simply cannot be disputed. Roman culture has vanished. So have the Egyptian, the Babylonian, the Greek, the Cambodian, the Indian, and the Chinese. New cultures are, or may be, active in the areas occupied by the old, and among their descendants, but they are clearly new. There is no reason at all to suppose that our Western culture is exempt from this fate. If it is to continue just as it is any longer, such a fate would be almost desirable. But to say that cultures grow old and die is no more pessimistic than to say the same of persons. They would be quite horrible if they did not, for one who does not know how to die does not know how to live.